Hi everyone, my name is Mary Beth. Welcome to my channel. So today we're going to ask, why are you addicted to your twin flame? Have you ever asked yourself that? Have you ever asked why we're addicted to anything? If there's something that you have to have, did you ever ask why? Like there's got to be a good reason, right? There's got to be a reason behind the the pain, right? The anguish, you know, whatever you want to call the void, I guess. There's this void, right, that needs to be filled. And it's almost like a suction, right? It's like a suction where it's like, I have to have this thing, or I have to have this person, or I have to have this, whatever it is. I have to have this drug, I have to have this alcohol, I have to have this coffee, whatever it is. It's a void that we're trying to fill, right? So let's just ask the cards. Why? Why are the viewers, for the collective, why are my viewers addicted to their twin flame? Why? Why? So let's grab, I'm thinking maybe 3 cards. Let's grab 3 cards for the collective. For the collective, please. Why are my viewers addicted to their twin flame? Shuffle one more time. 3 cards for the collective. Why are my viewers addicted to their twin flame? Why, Spirit? Why? Interesting. So we got follow the leader reversed. Interesting. I find that very interesting. You see, when it's upright, it means that you're a leader and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're following your soul, and therefore others are going to want to follow you, right? Others are going to want to do what you do because you're in this really good place. You're feeling pretty stable. You're feeling pretty prosperous. You have this light inside of you where it's like, I feel so fulfilled, right? And when you have that light inside of you, others want to follow that, right? Or others want to know what you have, right? But it's reversed. So it's almost like what they're telling me is that because maybe at this time, well, not maybe, those are just my words. What they're saying is you're not following your soul, right? So you're not following what your soul wants. Okay, is what they're telling me. So the soul had to do something, try something different, right? So the soul's like, hey, we want to go in this direction. This is what's going to help us. This is going to make us have a better life, become more expanded, really lighten up, become more stable. But if other things weren't working and you didn't hear them, or you really weren't following your true intuition or the advice that you felt like you were being followed, it's almost like it's almost like your soul had to say, okay, this isn't working. I'm gonna have to teach them a different way. So how am I gonna do that? Well, I'm going to go ahead and put them in a position of where they cannot ignore me, because the way your soul communicates to you is through your emotions, right? So now if your soul hijacks your emotions in an addiction sort of way, where it's like makes you addicted to someone or something, where it takes you down, it kind of does. It kind of takes you down, like you pretty much lost control. You pretty much don't wake up in the morning with control over your life, right? It consumes you, right? And so and then what it does is it shifts you, because you're like, okay, I need answers. Like I need to do something different because what I'm doing is not working. I need to do something different because this is so painful, right? Realizing that even if you get this person or this thing or this drug or this food or caffeine, it satisfies you for a minute amount of time, and then the pain all comes rushing back. And so, sorry about the glare. And so follow the leader is saying that the reason why you feel addicted is because you're not following the soul's advice, going the wrong direction. And you know you're in the wrong direction if you're feeling a longing that is definitely out of balance. It's definitely out of balance if you feel like you're longing for something. And it doesn't, here's what they're telling me, because they're laughing at me too, right? It doesn't have to be about your twin flame. Like if you're longing for something in your life, it could be more money, like anywhere where you feel lack and you feel like you're longing for something, that's going to take you out of balance, right? So we all have I should say, an area in our lives where we're a little bit out of balance, right? We're like, well, it could be better. Maybe you're not longing, which is good, but maybe you're thinking about it and you're like, could be better, and not feeling like you're prosperous in that area of life, and that's okay. But it's when you're longing, and it's when you're like perseverating, and you can't get it out of your mind, and it consumes you. That's when you know you're not following your light anymore. Yeah, and then we got movement reverse. Yeah, movement in the wrong direction. So it's definitely the wrong direction to be longing for anything. So what they're telling me is when you long for something, it's like you have to give it to yourself. That's the only way. You can't get it from outside of yourself. It can't happen. There's nothing, the universe can't give you something outside of you. You have to get it from the inside. You have to. Otherwise, the soul will continue to hijack your emotions and make you feel like, oh, I'm yearning. Oh, I want it. Oh, I just know when I have my twin flame, I'll be just so happy, or everything will be so settled, or everything will be so stable. And it's not. It's not that way at all. Whenever you get the person back, and I was in a relationship at one point, and they weren't even my twin flame, but it was for 11 years where it was just this. I had to have them, but when I was in the relationship, it was just so awful, and it was like a drug, and it was like a really bad drug. I mean, don't get me wrong, the drug gave me highs, which obviously wasn't a drug, right? It was a relationship, gave me really high highs, super ridiculously high highs, and I don't regret it. But at the same time, I got super low lows, and it was a very difficult time. A lot of depression, a lot of being hurt, a lot of stuff, right? And that wasn't even my twin flame. I just know it wasn't, and well, because we were just constantly in and out, but we were constantly getting back together all the time. Like there really was no space in between where we were alone. Like we were constantly breaking up and just getting right back together. And I do understand that now that my soul was just trying to talk to me, and that he was a mirror to something that I wasn't giving myself. Okay. And what was interesting is that I would always ask my daughter, well, why is he always so mad at me? And she's like, well, you're not emotionally connected to him. And I didn't know what that meant at the time. And really I didn't know what that meant until I met my twin flame. And so it could be for you too, where maybe you're not emotionally connecting to yourself, because if you feel like you need a person to connect to, it might be that you're not connecting to yourself. And then you may want to figure out what that even means, how to even be emotionally connected to yourself, and why you feel maybe you're not emotionally connected. And if you really look around the world, most people aren't emotionally connected. Maybe, gosh, hardly anyone's emotionally connected to themselves. I think one person that might have been I can think of was Jack LaLanne, seemed to be emotionally connected to himself. He seemed to really care about himself. He treated himself really well in every fashion, in every way possible. Most people don't. We self-sabotage. We drink alcohol. We eat stuff that's acidic. We don't alkaline the body. We don't take care of our body, or we just long for another person, or we depend on others for happiness. And so we really are not connected to ourselves. And when we don't connect to ourselves, we self-sabotage. And it's almost like we almost feel like we can almost disregard the body. It's almost like that. It's almost like sometimes depression, mentally unstable. Oh, I'm even like suicidal. I don't have my twin flame, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. And gosh, I should just die. Like that's really not being emotionally connected to oneself. And so you have to kind of figure out why, what happened, what traumas. And then a lot of it is inner child healing. You know, a lot of it is releasing those trapped emotions. And they're in layers. Let me tell you, they're just layers after layer after layer, but it gets better and easier and easier and easier. And so what they're telling me is it's also reversed because there is no movement towards your twin flame. The movement is to go within. That's the correct movement, to go within inside of you. Once you start moving inside of you and you stop looking outside of you for that void to be filled, you will start filling your soul. And your soul will be fulfilled. And once your soul is fulfilled, you'll no longer have a longing. And you probably misinterpret that longing for something that you think you have to have when it has nothing to do with that thing. It probably has nothing to do with that twin flame, probably has nothing to do with that drink, alcoholic drink, probably has nothing to do with that piece of cake. But at the same time, you'll have that longing because the soul is communicating with you. Okay, and the last one is coming to life reversed. Kind of the same thing, right? So if you look at this card upright, you see someone holding a ball of light and they're really coming to life. And what does that mean to you, coming to life? You know, I could just tell you what I think it means. You know, coming to life is being fulfilled. It is feeling joy. It is feeling like you have purpose, you know, and that is emotional connection to oneself, because when you give yourself purpose and you give yourself love and you give yourself nurturing and you pamper yourself and you practice self discipline, when you discipline yourself in bliss, then you feel this sense of coming to life, like you just feel alive. And it has nothing to do with anything outside of you. There's nothing outside of you that's bringing you to life, because if there is something outside of you that's bringing you to life and that thing goes away, fades away, walks away, you know, like let's say, oh, you know, I'm so happy whenever I have that drink in my hand. Well, now if something happens where, okay, now I have cirrhosis, right? Now I can't have that drink anymore. It's like, well, there goes my happiness, right? So like the universe will do something to take that thing away that we're dependent on, or it's that twin flame, right? In this case, if we're talking about addiction to the twin flame, the universe takes it away and says, okay, you feel like you have to have this thing, this person, now let's take it away. And now you're left with, okay, there goes my happiness. And now you have to get it back. Now you have to figure that out. That's the whole test. That's the whole twin flame journey. And so why are you addicted to your twin flame? Because you have this hole left inside of you, like this gaping hole. You have this gaping void inside of you that feels like it needs something to fill it. And so what I did was I was all like, well, I'm in love with Mary Beth. You know, I'm in love with Mary Beth. I had to kind of say it out loud, and I had to like integrate my own divine feminine, my own divine masculine. That's how I understood the divine masculine, divine feminine energy update. That's how I understood it, that I am the divine masculine and I am the divine feminine. Now, I teach on that if you're interested in knowing all about that, but that's what healed me when I really literally balanced. Because I talked about balancing it and I worked on it, but it took me a while. And once I did balance it, miraculously, I ended up in a very stable, beautiful relationship that just came to me. I didn't actually need it, but it came to me. And just the most stable, most beautiful relationship I've ever had. Just really magical, really. And I promise everyone can have that. But right now, coming to life would be to go within. It's reversed. Coming to life, you have to go within. That's where the answers are. It's like going within and figuring out, okay, I'm listening. What do you want me to do? I give up. I give it to you. Show me. And then what I did was I just started scrolling through YouTube, and then something would just like catch my eye, and I'd be like, oh, what's that? And then it'd be some kind of deep learning that I needed. Or I would go on websites, or I just kept asking questions about twin flames. Like, what do I need to know about twin flames? You know, that type of thing. I just kept searching. And the the more I dove, the more longing I had, or the more I felt like I was going through a dark night of the soul, the more I searched. And the more I searched, the more I found. And the more I found, the easier it got. And the easier it got, meaning the less I longed. It was at levels though. It wasn't like one day I was longing and the next day I wasn't. It was just a little less. And I noticed it was all baby steps. It was like 10% of the time, right? So 10% of the time, I was able to not think about my twin flame, right? And then another 10% of the time, I felt like I was actually in joy. 10% of the time, I was actually at peace. And I would keep asking myself, am I doing this at least 10% of the time? And that was my goal. But I had to work at it, and it was in layers, and I really had to work very closely with my soul. I had to get a lot of answers from my soul. I couldn't go outside of myself for the answers. The answers came from within, or at least showed to me first from within and showed me where to go. So, is there anything else I want to ask? So it's about 16 minutes. So why are you addicted to your twin flame? So again, you're not following your light. That's why. Everyone thinks they're following their intuition. And they are following their intuition, but it's not the reasons why they think. They're like, well, I'm following my intuition. My intuition says he's the one or she's the one. Like, this is my twin flame. Like, this is who I'm supposed to be with. And I have to be with this person. And your intuition is correct. But at the same time, you are brought to that, same as a person who is given the intuition of, I need this drug, or I need this medication, or I need this. And I know you're thinking that's not the same thing, but it is, because if you really think about it, your twin flame is your shadow. That drug is your shadow. It's all a shadow. There's so many things that the soul pushes. The soul will push you into really horrible circumstances. The soul will push you. The soul will push you there in order to break. In order, because when we break, that is when we change, right? If you look at the tower card is all about the tower coming down. So it's when we're ready to take our old selves down. And you'd think, well, why can't we just be who we are and then change a little bit and become someone new? The answer is, I don't know. I don't know why it can't be like that. I think it should be. But that doesn't seem to be the case. What seems to be the case is if you want change, the old self has to die, and it's painful. And then the new self emerges. And so it's almost like you have to take that old template away. You have to deprogram. And it's chaotic in a way. It's quite chaotic that you go through all these emotions, and you're deprogramming yourself. And it's almost like the same as if you were going dry. If you ever met someone who was going, I used to work at a jail, and I was with someone who was trying to go dry. She was trying to get off, I don't remember exactly what. And I remember walking her around the field, and it was very painful to watch, because it was very painful for her to release this need. She had this need for this particular chemical to help her feel okay. And it's kind of the same thing with the twin flame. It's like you have to release this need to have this person to make you feel okay and stable. And it takes time. It's the same thing with drying out. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, and it takes like a rehabilitation, and it takes healing, and it takes baby steps. But it's well worth it when you do it. And just know you're not alone, you know? And as you're going through it, you feel a little bit better each day. And you're so proud of yourself. You're like, oh my God, I went this many hours without even thinking about my twin flame. And that doesn't mean distracting yourself, because that doesn't work. If you purposely distract yourself, they're just going to give you something that reminds you of your twin flame. They'll just give you a scenario that it has to do with your twin flame. I promise you that. So you're not distracting yourself. You're not going to like, oh, I'm going to go dancing. I'm going to go club. I'm going to go be in a relationship with someone else. That's not going to work. No, it's healing yourself. It's facing head on and then breaking it. Literally breaking the habit. Breaking the habit. Yeah. It's a little hardcore, but it's this journey is only for the strong. That's why it was given to you. Because the weak would not be, that's why I would say most people, the biggest percentage of people going through the twin flame is maybe, I used to know the numbers, but it's a very small percentage of people that are actually on the twin flame journey. But everyone's on their own journey. But only the very strong can be on this journey because it is not, it's like a level up. It's like a level higher than what most people, it just depends. It depends because some people do go through medical, right, where they go through physical challenges. Some people go through mental challenges. Some people go through relationship challenges, money challenges, some kind of wound. And I'm going to reiterate that these harsh challenges are only for the strong. And so you're given to you were given it because you're ready. Your soul wouldn't give it to you unless you were ready. It's almost like you're Luke Skywalker and you've trained for this. You're all set. You're still never stopped learning, but you've been training for this your whole life. And you could do it. You can release this. I mean, I'm here to help. So if you want a session with me, I can help you at twinflamealchemisttarot@gmail.com. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.